Hey there. So, forgive the mess. I'm packing to return back home today. And I had a little bit of time and some thoughts on my mind, so I really wanted to share those. Um, First thing, always bring a travel sweater. I was wearing just shorts and a t-shirt, and the whole first trip, the first flight of my trip on Tuesday, I froze. And it was really, really early in the morning. So I froze while being exhausted. Not ideal. And then when I spent money on a sweater at an airport because I'm so cold. But like, what a fun sweater. Um, so that's just a fun tip for anybody who runs naturally cold like I do. The next thing that I want to share is it's not really a share, just kind of a story. So I was presenting yesterday for the contracting work that I do with the curriculum company, training teachers on a reading curriculum as they get ready for the start of the new year. And it was really nice because last week was actually the first week of school at my old district. And so I was feeling kind of just a little sad at not getting ready for the school year. So I got to be in two different classrooms, one on Monday in a city in Colorado, and then in Wednesday I'm on the West Coast. So this training was full day. It was my first time doing it, but I'd already kind of gotten an introduction and some practice with a lot of the slides on Monday. So I was feeling a lot like more comfortable and I had some more fun. I tried some different things. Um, and I also like probably overshared weird stories, but that's fine. It's all part of the experience. In this group of teachers, like I worked completely with third grade teachers. They are wonderful. Like I wanted to just come to the district and work with all of them because they were so much fun and they made it really easy to like it was just easy to talk to them and give them the information. They asked great questions, most of which I didn't have the answers to because I'm still learning a lot myself, but I think they appreciated the newness because I'm like, we're going to try this out. And if it doesn't work, technology, right? Um, and I think it helped comfort them because they were learning and so am I. But anyways, at like while people were coming in and things, there was one teacher had come in. It's her like eighth year teaching or something, and she's just returning to the classroom after maternity leave and having a baby. So her daughter is 6 months old now, and she's coming on back. And I was just saying like, I was right where you were this time last year, like coming back to school, like ready for school, after having a baby. And I was like, I made it to December. And then it was really hard. And she goes, oh, well, I can't stay home. I can't be a stay at home mom. And she like said it a couple of times. And I'm just like, weird. It's like, that is completely what I thought. I know she wasn't like saying it rudely or anything. It was just like it's so ingrained in her head that like I am going to be a working mom. I can be a teacher and a mom and like I can rock it all. Um and that's awesome for her. Super awesome. My sadness I feel is that I didn't say anything more about it. Because this mom, when we had our breaks and we had our lunch breaks and stuff, she went to pump, which is exactly what I did. And just coming from a space of some knowledge, I wish I had told her it's hard. It is hard returning to the classroom and having to pump before school, after school, during your plan time, during your lunch. It's not just coming back, right? You don't just come back like you took a vacation. You were birthing first because that's wild and so much harder than people talk about. And like the recovery time of that delivery experience is so much more than we're given credit for, than we're given, you know, just awareness of. And then um, keeping a newborn alive, which, like, you go home and it's just your partner, if your partner's there, and then a baby. Like, no one left an instruction manual. You're just there. So she's been going through all of that. And then she's coming back to the classroom, and you don't just become the teacher you were. Because I thought, I'm not going to change because I had a baby, just because I had a baby. Like it was something like I went to the store and bought one. Um, but like I am a career woman. I am a hard worker. I'm proud of the accomplishments I've made as a teacher and the work that I do as a teacher. Um, it's not going to change just because I had a kid. But like the reality is that it does. Like your whole self changes when you have a kid. Like the way your brain works changes. Like there is science on this. Don't quote me on what the science is, but I know I've read in several places that like neurologically you start thinking different. Your like molecules shift because going through labor and delivery, it's like its own really messy trauma. And sometimes you poop your pants. I didn't because I got a C-section. So like you're recovering from so much and then you have to go back to work. And she like how great that she had 6 months home with her kid. And she was saying she's just itching to get back. She can't be someone who just doesn't do things. But that's also like something I would say before I had kids with the complete ignorance of not knowing that being a stay-at-home mom is not nothing to do, right? Like, it's very ignorant to have that thought, and wasn't my place to call it out in that moment. And I have not developed the voice in that, or like in that conversation to say that. But I also totally got it. Like, I had the same thought. Like, I can't just be a stay at home mom. I need something to do. Well, stay at home moms do everything all the time, and it's exhausting. It's like, it's like you might have one or two kids, but you also are like dealing with the house, and you have to get like enrichment and go out for walks, and like you exhaust yourself just trying to deal with, even if it's one kid. Um, so she was just saying that, and I regret that I didn't say like it's hard. It is really hard. Give yourself grace because the time that you think you have to make copies, to plan, to do those things, it disappears because you're pumping. And like maybe other districts are different, but the district I had, when I said like when I talked to my administration, she was like, I'll just pump at plan and lunch. It's just easier for everybody so that I don't have to make plans for a teacher to come in. And the fact that I would have to do more work just so I can pump. There's a lot of things I have trouble with moms returning to the classroom, specifically teaching. I know it's probably really hard everywhere else as well for working moms, like minus the fact that like why aren't you working and providing for your kids is a stereotype, but then why aren't you spending more time with your kids is also a stereotype, and it's all judged, all of it. So like aside from all that, I had no knowledge of how difficult it was going to be a working mom who was pumping, who had an infant at home. So, uh, I mean, she was really sweet. She's got high hopes, and I love that. I just wish I had like told her like just hold yourself gently as you move forward. It's not you can't just be the same. It's really really hard after giving life to a human. Um and I just like I didn't expect it. And I feel like she is kind of gonna go through some of the processes I did where it's like, why is this so hard? Like nobody talks about it. And then I'm part of the problem because I didn't talk about it. So I'm sharing it with all of you on on YouTube, not Facebook, because it needs to be said, being a teacher and a mom and returning to the classroom is so wildly hard. You don't know until you do it. And there's a reason why so many moms take time off, because it's so difficult. And throw in the current state of education at the moment, the demands that are put on teachers, the stress, and then toxic administration, toxic work environments. Just it it makes everything harder. And I don't regret my choice to step away, because like I get to live prioritizing my mental health, prioritizing my son, and I do miss the classroom, and I do hope that I can find a way back in some capacity, but I don't regret the choice I've made. Um, so I talked to this mom earlier, and then at the end of the session today, I was talking to another mom, and she, because I was open, I said, "Hey, I've been teaching for 10 years. I taught through the pandemic. I know that it's harder now than it was before." Um, and and I talked about my son and how I've left and I'm doing some different things because I'd rather, spend more time with him. I felt better that way. And this woman, she's had 4 kids. 4. She's adopted 2, which is awesome. And we talked a little bit about that because ultimately I would like to adopt 1, maybe 2 kids. And I think Ben would be completely on board with that. Um, I think he did not like the infant stage as much as I liked it. I think he was just very tired and he doesn't do as well on tired, and that's completely understandable. Um, but anyway, this mom was talking, we were just kind of sharing some things, and she goes, "You won't regret making the choice you made. You only get so much time and then it's gone. And you don't ever get that back. You can always return to the classroom. You can always return to anything, but you only get this time with them once." And I've heard people say it, but it doesn't mean anything until you have the kids for it to mean something. So it's like, you only get this time once. And I was like, before kids, I was like, well, I can go to Mexico and Cancun, I can go visit there anytime. Post kids, it's a different story actually. But anyway, I can always go and do that, or I can go and, hang out with friends or spend a weekend just being ridiculous, going out to bars or something. I don't do that anymore because I think when you hit 30, like you're totally fine not doing things like that anymore. I might be wrong. Sometimes I'm like, I want to go out and have some fun. But for the most part, I'm like, no, I think I want to lay in bed and read or watch TV or sleep. Like, that sounds so much more better. And like going and getting a drink at a bar as opposed to getting a Blizzard at DQ, like I'm going to go with the Blizzard. But anyways, so I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going off on a tangent. So my point is that if you know any new moms that are going back into the classroom or new moms that are going back into the workforce at all, please just give them grace, because what we as mothers think will happen and believe we're ready and capable of, we are, but it changes after having kids, after having a kid, after giving birth, after going through that recovery, like that physical recovery. I know it's different for, that natural birth, but like I had weeks of recovery. Luckily, nothing happened with my surgery and everything healed just fine, but it's still like you're cut into. Like it is a major surgery, and that's something that people don't like realize. This is huge. I could feel them tugging him out. Like it's a very weird experience. That might be a story for another day. But working moms and working teacher moms like deserve all the recognition, all the respect, all the money. Just throw it at them, because it's so difficult. And just like have awareness, have some compassion, have some grace for those people, those women who are going out and doing this, or trying at least, or in putting their best in. It's not going to be perfect, but they're doing their best. And so I'm going to leave you with that because I should probably pack and get ready to go to the airport. I get to fly all day and then get home at midnight. And the first thing I'm doing is going and snuggling with my baby boy because he has not been feeling good. And I hate that I've been like out here so far away and I can't just hold him and snuggle him and help him feel better. So I'm really looking forward to being home. And if he's feeling up for it, we're going to go to the park in the morning. And I will definitely need a whole bunch of coffee to get through that. But it's going to be great because I'm going to get my snuggles. So I hope you all have a great end of your week and a wonderful weekend.